What really happened to the Bani Qurayza Jews? Were they traitors or they were betrayed? Let's find out in this video. When Muhammad first entered Yathrib, also known as Medina, he was counting on the support of his people. One particular ethnic group he thought would give more authority to his prophethood were the Jews, because they had the Torah and all the previous prophets were Jewish. There were a lot of Jews in Yathrib. There were the Bani Nadia Jews, the Bani Kunuga Jews, the Bani Qurayza Jews, and several more. The Jews were rich and they were successful in their businesses. At first, Muhammad was trying to befriend the Jews and get them on his side. He insisted that the people of the book, that is the Jews and the Christians, worship the same God, that is Allah. So you can read this in Surah 29 verse 46. He said the same God, that is Allah, sent down the Torah. You can read this in Surah 5 verse 48. He ordered the Muslims to fast Ashura or the Passover. You can also read this in the Hadith Sahih Bukhari 20:04. Even the Qibla, that is the direction the Muslim face in prayers, was towards Jerusalem, and this is the same direction the Jews face during prayer. You can read this in Sahih Bukhari 41. But no matter how hard Muhammad tried to convince them that he is a prophet, he just couldn't. There was a time he even barged into a Jewish synagogue in Yathrib and said that if only 12 Jews would believe in him, then Allah will spare them his wrath. You can read this in the Hadith Musnad Ahmed 23464. When he realized that the Jews wouldn't believe in him and that their unbelief would turn against him because they have the Torah, which was the criteria for any prophet, he realized that they should all be eliminated. So, at first, he switched the Qibla, that is the direction the Muslim face in prayer, from Jerusalem to Mecca. You can read this in Surah 2 verse 144 and Sahih Bukhari 41. After switching the Qibla, he warned them that they either become Muslims and be saved or sell their possessions and leave their land. You can read this in the Hadith Sahih Muslim 1765 to 1767 and Sunan Abi Dawud 3003. Muhammad marched towards the Jews in order to either exile them or make a treaty with them. The Bani Nadia Jews refused to make a treaty with Muhammad, so they fought against him and they lost, and subsequently they were exiled. The Bani Qurayza Jews saw the fate of their Bani Nadia brethren, so they had no choice but to make a peace treaty with him. You can read this in Sahih Muslim 1766 and Sunan Abi Dawud 3004. Yet, Muhammad was determined that all Jews should either be exiled or killed. He was set on their elimination. He cannot simply break the treaty with the Bani Qurayza Jews though, because it would be bad for his image as a prophet who is supposed to keep his promises and treaties. He strongly emphasized the importance of keeping treaties. You can read Surah 9 verse 4 and Sahih Bukhari 33. So his only way out was to make it appear as though the Bani Qurayza were the ones who broke the treaty. Now, we have the battle of the trench or ditch. The pagan Arab tribes retreated and Muhammad was ready for battle. Muhammad went to the Bani Qurayza Jews and eliminated them because it was claimed that they betrayed the Muslims and renounced the treaty. But did they really betray the Muslims and renounce the treaty? Let's find out. Quraysh and Ghatfan, encouraged by the Bani Nadia Jews who were exiled by Muhammad, wanted to eliminate Muhammad once and for all. They gathered up a great army and put Yathrib under siege. You can read this in Sahih Bukhari 4103. Muhammad, based on his suggestion by Salman al-Farisi, dug a trench around Yathrib. You can read Sahih Bukhari 2837. Except for the Bani Qurayza side, that is because they had a great fortress and it would be practically impossible for the pagan Arabs to get through their fortresses unless the Bani Qurayza allowed it. Now, since Muhammad and the Bani Qurayza Jews had a treaty, he had nothing to fear about. You can read Sahih Muslim 1766 and Sunan Abi Dawud 3004. Therefore, he was set and ready. Now, the siege started. Mohammed was running low on food and resources. You can read Sahih Bukhari 4101 and Musnad Ahmed 13808. His companions were terrified. You can also read Sahih Bukhari 4103 and Musnad Ahmed 106 113. His companions were terrified, and above all, that it was rumored that the Bani Qurayza were going to break the treaty between them and Muhammad and let the pagan Arabs come through their side. But after a while, a sandstorm hit the armies of the pagan Arabs, and since Bani Qurayza refused to let them in through their fortress, the army had no choice but to retreat. You can read this in Musnad Ahmed 2282-3. Muhammad, on the other hand, was ready for battle. He had a full army equipped and eager to fight in the name of Allah. The rumors that the Bani Qurayza wanted to betray him were his only excuse, and an order was sent from Allah via Angel Gabriel or Angel Jibril. He went to them and put them under a siege for 14 days. Finally, they surrendered. So, Muhammad killed all their men, enslaved their women and children. You can read this in Sahih Muslim 1769. Now, there was one less Jewish tribe to worry about. So, it all comes down to this. Are the Bani Qurayza Jews traitors, or were they betrayed? To properly understand this, first of all, we need to ask ourselves this question. How do we know if a treaty is broken? We cannot simply assume that a treaty is broken because of mere rumors, like in Surah 49:12. We can only assume that a treaty is broken if the other side officially renounced the treaty, and also if the other side does an action which is a direct violation of the treaty. The question is, does any of this apply to the Bani Qurayza Jews? Of course no. I have searched the 9 books of the Hadith: Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Sunan al-Tirmidhi, Sunan al-Nasa'i, Sunan Abi Dawud, Sunan Ibn Majah, Musnad Ahmad, Muwatta Malik, and Sunan al-Darimi. In my search, I did not find any single hadith which indicates that Bani Qurayza either officially or even unofficially renounced the treaty, nor did I find a hadith which indicates that Bani Qurayza violated the treaty in any way, shape, or form. As a matter of fact, the only hadith I found regarding Bani Qurayza position was one hadith in Musnad Ahmad 2282-3, which says that the Bani Qurayza actually refused to assist the pagan Arabs in any way in their assault against Muhammad. In conclusion, we saw how much Muhammad wanted to get the Jews on his side to believe him as a prophet, but since he couldn't, he had to eliminate them. We saw that the Bani Qurayza Jews actually refused to aid the pagan Arabs or even let them in through their fortress. Yet, Muhammad was determined to eliminate all non-Muslims from Arabia. The Jews were innocent, yet that didn't stop him. He marched to Bani Qurayza and ruthlessly slaughtered all their men, enslaved their women and children. He violated the treaty himself, and he was the one who always preached how treaties should be kept. History is written by the victors. Therefore, the Muslims throughout history claim that the Bani Qurayza Jews were the traitors. Yet, because the 9 hadith collectors from Bukhari to al-Darimi were men who fear Allah, they couldn't include in their books any hadith which wasn't authentic. Because of that, they couldn't find any hadith to put in their books which talk about the tragedy or betrayal of the Bani Qurayza Jews. So, you see, it all comes down to this. Does a true prophet of God break his treaties? Of course no. And this is what Muhammad did. And therefore, Muhammad cannot be a prophet from God. And Muhammad is a false prophet claiming to be from God. The earlier Muslims realized this, the better for them.